Star Trek. Strange New Worlds already set up how Captain Pike's crew can survive the Gorn. When Star Trek. Strange New Worlds introduced the Gorn in its very first season, it wasn't just a nostalgic nod to the original series' infamous reptilian foes. Instead, the series reimagined the Gorn as one of the most terrifying alien threats in the modern Trek era. Unlike the lumbering, rubber-suited version Captain Kirk fought on Cestus 3, this new Gorn species is brutal, fast, and horrifyingly parasitic, more akin to a xenomorph than a slow-moving lizard. The threat has hung over Captain Pike and the Enterprise crew ever since, but the show has already laid the groundwork for how they could eventually survive an all-out confrontation. The Gorn's terrifying new evolution. Strange New Worlds Gorn are predators with a chilling life cycle. Eggs are implanted in hosts, leading to gruesome chest-bursting births. Hatchlings attack anything in sight, including each other, until only the strongest survive. Adult Gorn, meanwhile, are faster, stronger, and nearly impossible to kill without heavy weaponry. In short, they represent the Federation's worst nightmare, a species that sees humans as prey, not rivals. But despite their nightmarish nature, the series has also shown key cracks in the Gorn's armor. These weaknesses, alongside the ingenuity of Pike's crew, may provide the blueprint for survival. Lon Noonien Singh. The key to understanding the Gorn. One of the Enterprise's greatest assets is Lon Noonien Singh. Her tragic past, having watched her family slaughtered by the Gorn before being abandoned as bait, gives her unique insight into their behavior. Across Season 1 and 2, Lon's trauma-driven knowledge has allowed her to anticipate the Gorn's hunting patterns and survival tactics. Her experience already proved critical in Memento Mori, where she devised the Enterprise's strategy against a Gorn hunting party. Lon's deep familiarity with their instincts makes her the crew's greatest weapon, not in brute strength, but in understanding how to outthink the predators. She embodies a central Star Trek theme: knowledge and empathy, even when born from trauma, can overcome brute force. Starfleet ingenuity, turning science into survival. Strange New Worlds has repeatedly emphasized that Pike's crew doesn't win through violence alone. Spock, Uhura, Hemmer, and M'Benga have all contributed vital scientific and medical insights in past encounters with the Gorn. For instance, the discovery that the Gorn are vulnerable to specific environmental conditions, such as extremes in temperature and light, provides tactical advantages. In All Those Who Wander, Hemmer sacrificed himself by using extreme cold to drive Gorn hatchlings out of his body before they could kill him. While tragic, this showed that the Gorn are not invincible. They can be manipulated or even weakened through environmental science. It's a subtle but important clue. Survival won't come from outgunning the Gorn, but from understanding the biology that makes them dangerous. Pike's leadership, protecting his crew at all costs. Captain Christopher Pike is unlike many Starfleet captains who face legendary foes. Where Kirk thrived on improvisation and Picard leaned on diplomacy, Pike's strength lies in his fierce devotion to his crew's safety. Every Gorn encounter so far has tested this leadership philosophy. Pike's willingness to listen, to Lon's insights, to Spock's logic, to Uhura's intuition, sets him apart. He doesn't insist on being the smartest person in the room. Instead, he empowers his crew to contribute. That collaborative leadership style may be the Enterprise's secret weapon against the Gorn. No single officer can outfight them, but together, using every skill and perspective available, the crew can find a path to survival. Foreshadowing a Federation-wide threat. The Gorn aren't just an episodic menace, they're being positioned as a recurring villain across Strange New Worlds. By escalating their presence across seasons, the writers are crafting them as a long-term existential threat, much like the Borg were in The Next Generation. Already, Starfleet has had to acknowledge the danger the Gorn pose, even if much of the Federation still underestimates them. Pike's encounters may become the groundwork for Starfleet developing defensive protocols, medical countermeasures, and survival strategies that ripple across the quadrant. In other words, the Enterprise crew's ingenuity could ensure humanity's survival, not just their own. The Star Trek ethos. Survival without losing humanity. Perhaps the most important setup Strange New Worlds has already established is philosophical rather than tactical. Star Trek has always been about more than defeating enemies. It's about remaining true to Federation ideals in the face of darkness. The Gorn embody raw survival of the fittest brutality. By contrast, Pike's crew represents cooperation, compassion, and most